Hello to all you curious minds of Deep Dive. Welcome to another Deep Dive. Have you ever been scrolling through a music app or looking for a good movie for the weekend, and just for a moment you pause and ask yourself, was this choice really my choice? There's a strange feeling, as if an invisible architect, a silent partner, is whispering in our ear, guiding us toward choices we think are our own. By the end of this video, you will see the blueprint of this silent architect. But to read this map, we have to start in a strange place, inside our own fathom. Because if you understand this, your perspective on every click, every like, and every purchase you make online will change forever. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine you're lost in a foreign city. What's the first thing you do? You probably pull out your phone and turn on the GPS. Easy, fast, and efficient. We call this using a tool. But a hidden, much more important truth is at play. Scientists call this cognitive offloading. It means we consciously delegate the tasks of thinking, remembering, and decision-making to an external tool to reduce the load on our own brains. The common belief is that this makes us smarter, freeing up our minds for more important things. But the truth is more complex, and perhaps a little more concerning. The unanswered question we want to answer tonight is this: when we offload our mental burden, what happens to the mental muscles that were supposed to carry it? The answer to this question is summarized in a simple, ruthless principle: use it or lose it. Our brain, just like our body's muscles, needs exercise to stay strong. A user in an online discussion explained this with a fantastic analogy. They said, it's like having a robot servant that always carries your luggage for you. Sure, it's easier, but you'll never develop your own muscles because you're not carrying the weight yourself. Every time we ask an AI for an answer instead of thinking through a problem, we are essentially skipping a workout for our brain's problem-solving neurons. You might say this is just an analogy, but scientific research has proven this with startling numbers. A comprehensive study found a direct and significant correlation between higher usage of AI tools and a decline in critical thinking ability. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information to make a reasoned decision. When we delegate the work of connecting ideas, evaluating sources, and structuring arguments to a machine, it's like we're skipping the most important exercises at our mental gym. But that's just the beginning. Researchers at MIT took it a step further. They measured the brain activity of students while they were writing essays. The result was shocking. The group using ChatGPT showed the lowest neural engagement across all metrics. Their brains were practically at rest. The essays they submitted were, in the researchers' own words, repetitive and soulless. This means AI doesn't just automate tasks, it might be automating the very mental effort required for learning and creativity. This phenomenon, also known as agency decay, is the gradual erosion of our willingness and ability to make decisions. The more we lean on the crutch of AI, the weaker the legs of our own minds become. And this is where the silent architect's plan enters its second, more dangerous phase. A mind that has become lazy about thinking is the perfect target for being guided. Now, let's step out of our minds and into the world of economics and our daily choices. The same architect that is re-engineering our minds is now engineering the market where we shop. Its main tool? Recommender systems. The very algorithms on Amazon, Netflix, or Spotify that tell us what to buy, what to watch, and what to listen to. We think these systems help us find the best options, but that's not the whole story. An economic study revealed that by personalizing recommendations, these algorithms reduce our incentive to search and compare. When we shop around less, competition among sellers decreases, and when there's less competition, prices go up. This means the very personalization we see as a benefit can ultimately hurt our wallets. A simulation conducted by the UK government put a number on this loss. Algorithms focused on corporate profit caused each user to overspend by an average of about £8. And when the algorithm was designed to target users based on their income, that figure more than doubled to over £17. These systems also have another side effect called the superstar effect. Algorithms tend to make popular products even more popular. As a result, a large portion of our attention and money flows toward a limited number of products, while more unique and creative options are quietly pushed to the margins. Cultural and economic diversity diminishes, and the market becomes concentrated in the hands of a few big stars. But the point where these two worlds, the world of the mind and the world of the market, intersect is where things get truly scary. A psychological study designed a clever experiment. They showed participants a set of products and asked them to choose the best one. Then, an algorithm recommended an inferior and lower quality product to them. The result? A significant portion of the participants abandoned their own correct choice and selected the weaker option simply because the algorithm suggested it. This phenomenon is called algorithm overdependence. We trust the machine more than our own judgment, even when the evidence right in front of us says otherwise. And this is where the turn in our story happens. The architect we thought was a neutral assistant now reveals its true face. It isn't just a toolmaker. It's an architect with a pre-designed agenda. The weakening of our critical thinking is not an accident. It's a prerequisite. The architect that first weakens our mental muscles can later guide us much more easily toward the markets it has designed. These two blueprints, the blueprint for redesigning the mind and the blueprint for redesigning the market, are actually a single, unified plan. Cognitive decline enables choice manipulation. It's an integrated system. Now that this architect has engineered our minds and our choices, let's see what happens when it starts engineering society as a whole. When algorithms move beyond recommending movies and music and start making critical decisions about human lives. This is where we encounter the darkest part of the architect's blueprint, algorithmic bias. We hold a dangerous and mistaken belief that algorithms are neutral and objective because they operate on logic and math. But this is the biggest lie of the tech world. An algorithm is only as unbiased as the data it's fed. And the data from our world is filled with the ugliest historical biases and injustices. The algorithm learns these biases, repeats them, and worst of all, amplifies them thousands of times over. The examples are shocking. In the US justice system, an algorithm called Compass was used to predict the likelihood of a defendant reoffending. An independent investigation revealed that the algorithm was horribly biased against black individuals, incorrectly flagging them as high risk far more often than white individuals. The tragedy was that the overall accuracy of the system was also extremely low, so the algorithm was both racist and wrong most of the time. Another example, a widely used hospital algorithm for allocating medical resources used past healthcare costs as a proxy for need for care. On paper, it sounds logical. But in practice, this created a deep racial bias. Why? Because in the American healthcare system, black patients, even with the same level of illness, have lower average medical costs. As a result, the algorithm mistakenly concluded they were healthier and needed less care. These biases aren't inventions of the machine. They are a mirror reflecting the discriminatory patterns already present in our society. But with one huge difference, the algorithm gives this discrimination a technical, scientific veneer. It hides injustice behind a complex black box. A black box so opaque that even experts can't fully understand what's happening inside. And this is a crisis for democracy. How can we hold a system accountable whose logic cannot be explained? This is the climax of our story. The point where we realize we have slowly and silently delegated the design of the most important parts of our lives to an invisible, silent, biased, and unaccountable architect. An architect that is rebuilding the foundations of our minds, our economy, and even our justice system without ever asking for our permission. We are losing control. But this story doesn't have to have a grim ending. Being aware of this architect is the first and most crucial step to taking back control of the blueprints. The solution isn't to demolish all these structures and fire the architect. The solution is for us to become the chief architects ourselves. We must learn how to use this powerful tool intelligently and critically. This is where the concept of hybrid intelligence comes into play. It means combining artificial intelligence with the best of human abilities. A university teacher found a brilliant way to do this. He allows his students to use AI to write a report, but with a catch. The written report is just an entry ticket to an oral exam. In that exam, the student must be able to defend the report's logic, explain the reasoning behind their choices, and describe how their conclusions would change if the conditions were different. This is using AI not as a shortcut to escape thinking, but as a sparring partner to think more deeply. This story, in the end, is not a story about technology. It's a story about human agency, about free will and the responsibility that comes with powerful tools. We are standing at a point in history where we must consciously choose whether we want to be passive consumers of a world designed for us by others, or if we want to be the active architects of our own future. The great science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke famously said, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." Perhaps the task of our generation is to learn how to see behind the magic, not to fear it, but also not to be enchanted by it. So the next time you're scrolling through an app, hesitating between two movies, just pause for a moment. Ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing right now? My own, or the whisper of that silent architect? Maybe the answer to that question is the first step toward taking back control. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. The Deep Dive team loves you guys. If this video sparked even one new question in your mind, help us share these questions with more people by liking and subscribing. And maybe the next time you look at your phone, you'll remember that the most powerful processor isn't in that device, but is still the one located between your ears.